Today I will discuss about the how do we preserve the drugs in the different types of containers. That we can see there are four different types of bottles in which we can store the medicines. This is actually the container. First of all, we have to discuss about the containers. There are different types of container depends upon the types of medicinal substance or modern nature we try to preserve. Like when we are talking about hard glasses, and or we can say potash glasses with a glass stopper, actually it is a container which is used for the preserving corrosive substances. Corrosive substances means like the substance which are acidic or basic in nature or alkalic in nature. So this type of medicinal substance we try to store in hard glasses or potash bottle. Next, if we are talking about the some types of medicine that we have to protect from the sunlight, for that types of medicine we have to store it in actinic glasses. Actinic glasses it protect the actual drugs or medicinal substances from the sunlight. Okay, and it's actually colored bottles. We can see, we can identify it by it's have a distinct color. Next we can see a gatta parcha. Gatta parcha bottles are the bottles used for actually fluoric acid. It's example that example of a drugs that we use to store it in a gatta parcha. Next we are talking about the avoid what type of containers we should avoid for storing any type of drugs. Like we cannot store the blue colored bottles. Avoid strictly a blue colored bottles, and yellow or amber color bottle. Amber colors means like orange type of color bottles we should avoid to storing any type of medicinal substances. So second topic is the how the place and method of preservation. So how can we preserve the medicinal substances? So first of all, if we are talking about the plants and their parts, so how can we store the or preserve the plants and their parts? We should be kept in a cool dark places. First of all, we have to store in a cool dark places, and should be little quantity of water sprinkled over the in the form over time to time. Means we have to first of all we have to store in cool dark places, and then we have to sprinkle small amounts of water time to time. Okay. Next is pulverized drug. Pulverized drug should be stored after dried. It should be dried well before storing. And how can we drying it? So we have to drying by spreading the pulverized drug on water bath. By pulverized by spreading the pulverized drugs on water bath, we can dry it better, and then we can store this or preserve this. And last is animal product. So as we know that the animal or animal product decompose very quickly, so it should be used immediately after the collection. So if necessary, we preservation of next we separation arrangement. How will we separate the special type of drugs from others? Like we are talking about the for strong smelling substance. For small smelling substances or drugs like camphor, we can smell its because it's a very smelling drugs, so it should be closed tightly. It should be closed tightly. For strong smelling substance, we have to preserve it by keeping it closed tightly in a bottles or in a container. And we are talking about the drug possessing the power reaction. So these are the types of drugs which are collected from distant places, and it is kept in loosely packed in ordinary cases. Okay? To keep and try to keep in cool places. We all types of drugs we have to try to keep it in cool places. Now next is the preservation of mother tincture. So how can we preserve the mother tincture? So for these steps I am given a mnemonics. The mnemonics is lax safe. L for leveling, E for avoid, C for container, T for temperature, F for filtration, and S for separate arrangement. Leveling. When do we level the drugs? So we have to mention the percentage of alcohol we used in the mother tincture, the manufacture date, name given the mother name, the name of mother tincture properly, and sin theta. Sin theta stands for the mother tincture. When we talking about the container, what type of container that we can use? So as I said earlier, you can use the temperature actinic bottles or hard bottles for using as a container for preservation of mother tincture. We cannot use the blue bottles or yellow or amber colored bottles. What type of things we should avoid during preservation of mother tincture? Excess heat, excess cold, dust, dumped areas, sunlight. This all types of thing we should, like dumped areas with moisture, any type of moisture we should avoid. Temperature. And when we talking about the temperature, for preservation of temperature, we should maintain temperature up to 60 degrees Celsius, because very low temperature or very high temperature can change the characteristics of the mother tinctures. So after the temperature, we should focus on the filtration. So when we try to preserve the mother tincture, we should filtrate it well. Okay. So next is separate arrangement. Separate arrangement is necessary for the strong smelling drugs like camphor. Make a separate arrangement. They have their own action reaction, because we should it separate. We should keep it separate because it have their own action reaction, and it have strong smelling properties. So we have to try to make separate from all other drugs. Next, last topic is preservation of potentized drugs. How can we preserve the potentized drug? Potentized drug is preserved by the tricks LCAS. L for leveling, C for container, E for avoid, S for separating arrangement. So when you're talking about leveling of potentized drug and the mother tincture leveling is little bit different from the potentized drug. Here we should name the drugs, potentized drugs, with the potency value. In case of mother tincture, we should not mention the potentized value. So we have in this case we have to mention the potentized value of the drugs. Next is manufacture date, we should mention, and batch number, and then alcohol percentage on expiry date. It should be, and we can manufacture name also can mention. Container. In container, as I have earlier mentioned, the types of container we can use is the same as we mentioned in the case of preservation of mother tincture. Avoid. What should we avoid? Same thing, like excess heat, excess cold, damp places, moisture, excess temperature, sunlight. These all things we should avoid strictly. Separate arrangement also same for, as like I said earlier, for strong smelling drugs like camphor, we make separate arrangement because they have own action reactions. Thank you for watching this videos. If you like these videos, share and subscribe.